Does JMU's Curt Cignetti dye his hair? It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Dave Schultz back with another edition of Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Today's episode brought to you by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match of up to $100. Daily fantasy sports made easy. All right, we'll get back to Curt Cignetti here in a second. And then the last episode, we're going down the bowl projections. It's like, why not have Troy, App State winner, play JMU? How great would that be? Some of these bowls aren't going to draw very much. And we'll get to that. And then we'll check out the early standings in, no one's played anybody in the Sunbelt yet, not at least each other. But as we all know, JMU is off to an incredible start. All right. I almost didn't get through that opening without chuckling. Okay. I do not care if Curt Cignetti colors his hair. As somebody who used to color his hair, I can sort of pick it out. I obviously do not anymore. I think I stopped when Taylor Hicks became popular. And what is that, 15 years ago now? Something along those lines. I did color it one time before date because, self-conscious. There may have been a little bit of an age difference, but again, 15 years ago. So here's the thing about Curt Cignetti, okay? He's only been a head coach for about 12 years now, maybe 13 seasons. Before, he almost coached 30 years before he got a chance at head coach. And, he did not get these great opportunities. He started at about as low as levels as you can be before taking over JMU and building it up. And so he is 62 years of age. If you just look at him quickly, he doesn't look 35, but you would think that he was in his upper 40s, maybe early 50s. He's 62. So one would think his next stop is going to be it if he's successful. He's not jumping ship, right? The whole idea would be to go to a Power 5 school and get a couple of contract extensions and, coach until you're, if Saban's doing it in his 70s, do it to 72, 75, something along those lines. He's not, looking to, for example, end up at Syracuse and then leave to do a better job somewhere else. Although it was a good day for my Orange. They got a football coach. They beat LSU. And I tried some Weller single barrel all in one day. It was a lot of Orange today, all in one day. But the idea is that one would think, I could be wrong, but one would think that Curt Cignetti is, if he is going to get a gig, it's going to be his last. All right. That would be the idea. All right. Unless he thinks he has to take a middling Power 5 job to get to a major Power 5 job. The problem is, if you're a major Power 5, are you going to hire a 66, 67-year-old? I don't know. I would doubt it. You kind of want somebody who's going to be there, at least you think, for the better part of a decade. I'm not sure you're going to hire somebody like that. So the question is, is he coloring his hair? Again, I do not care if he colors his hair. I would find it a little humorous, but there is going to be absolutely, the point of that is that there is ageism. All right. That, I'm in my, I guess, mid-50s, and I probably go through some of that as well. He's got his thing is much younger than what I do, being a radio talk show host, although it's nice to have somebody younger and a little hipper than I am to bounce things off of. But the amount of hours you got to put in connecting to the players, it's a thing. And he's up there in age. So I would not have a problem if he does, but I wouldn't blame him if he does it either. Would not blame him if he does it. Because I'm not sure he's getting a fair shake. I mean, you can go to the Wikipedia page, or you could probably go to his own the JMU website, right? I mean, he's at, is IU, is that Indiana? Yeah, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. That's Division II. That was his first head coaching job. Then he went to Elon. And then he's been at James Madison for the past 19, 20, 21, 22, 25 seasons. But before that, right, he was at Alabama for 4 seasons. Big part of Nick Saban's original coaching staff recruiting the likes of Julio Jones and Mark Ingram and Dante Hightower. At NC State, he was the one who told Phillip Rivers, no, you don't have to be a linebacker. You can come here and play quarterback. So we got him to go there. And he's taken forever to get his shot, right? This is, I don't want to say late bloomer, but late opportunity, right? His father is in the coaching, in the College Football Coaching Hall of Fame. And he started coaching as a GA under Faj Fazio in 1983. And didn't get a head coaching job until 2011. That's like 28 years. It doesn't happen like that, right? Very rarely does it happen like that. So his time is running short is the point. All right. And, you know, if he gets a raise, I don't know what he's making at James Madison. But if they take care of him there, he is not. I don't think he's looking to leave just to leave. If the right position comes along and you just can't, you can't compare, right? I mean, you can't compare what Duke was paying to Mike Elko to what Texas A&M is paying Mike Elko. Those is night and day, probably double his salary, at least. And so one would think that you would get it, whatever he's getting at James Madison is going to be, could be 3 or 4 or 5 times at a Power 5 school, and you just can't compete with that. So he's got to do what he does. Again, I don't know if he does. I try to do a little catchy opening there and with the thumbnail and stuff, but I do think there probably is some ageism, and he's trying to cover that up just a little bit. All right. Not only for, the administrations, but for the players too, right? You want to look a little bit younger for the players. And actually, again, we were so impressed with the press conference that that he gave after they lost to App State, but then they hammered Coastal in the final game of the season. He's jumping around singing the JMU fight song with a big smile on his face. So, little bit relaxed. I mean, Curt is one of those, you don't get a whole lot of coach speak with him. He's pretty straightforward, pretty honest. And he's a little bit different of a bird compared to the others that we have spoken to, and enjoy my conversations with him. And I may or may not hear about it after this podcast. I may not talk to him again. We'll see. But I would think that he's doing it for the administrations, probably doing it for the, I want to say sponsors, but that's not it. The donors, that's it. And the players. So I don't know that for a fact, but I can't blame him if he does, because it may be a necessary evil right now just to make him look. There's a big difference between someone looking 54 or 55 than looking 65 to 70, right? I mean, if I didn't have the gray hair, I could probably get away with looking 40 to 45. Look pretty good for 54. All right. Let's take a time out. Let's talk about why not Troy, an App State winner, taking on JMU in a bowl game. We will do that right after this, and I tell you about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. We're the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks is the most fun I've had, winning up to 25 times my money this football season. And now I can play during basketball season too. You just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. With the basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo of 3-pointers made plus receptions. PrizePicks offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, speaking of LeBron James. each Tuesday. PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value. PrizePicks now offers Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match of up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match of up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. In the last episode, we went through the bowl projections. I had them here. I guess I can call them back up. I got them. All right, I still got them. All right, Action Network from Brett McMurphy. Okay, so these were done a couple of days ago. The question is, are there going to be a lot of people there? Some of these games are not going to be filled. I just don't think that it is. And because a lot of them are they during the week? That is one of the problems. For example, we'll just take, it could be a long weekend. We'll just take Georgia Southern hosting. Georgia Southern taking on Northern Illinois. All right. McMurphy's got them playing together in the famous Toastery Bowl, the legendary Toastery Bowl, famous Toastery Bowl, on Monday, December 18th. Okay. So you spend the weekend in Charlotte. You're still going to need an extra day to get back. And so, you're going to have to take a couple of days off from work. A lot of people going to that ball game. I mean, Charlotte maybe for Georgia Southern, but I don't know about Northern Illinois. And how many people are actually going to go from Statesboro? All right. What about the New Orleans Bowl? I mean, Jacksonville State against Arkansas State? Maybe. You got some others. Like, I don't know how many. Are we going to get a big, should be a pretty good game, actually. Toledo against App State should be a really good football game, to be honest with you, in the Cure Bowl in Atlanta. But that's on a weekend. That one is a little different because now you can mix in Disney. So that one's a little bit different. You take a couple of days off, either before the weekend or, after the game, after the week. Also, you can do the Disney thing before the holidays when it is too crowded for everybody to go to. So you get it, before the Christmas break happens. But again, some of these I'm not sure. Like here's a good one. The Frisco Bowl. Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. ODU versus Western Kentucky in Frisco, Texas. Is that going to be well attended? Honestly. Is it going to be that well attended? Anybody from Frisco going to go? Let's see what date that was on. That was on the 19th. That's, what do we say? That's a Tuesday? That's December 19th on a Tuesday. I'm not sure how many people are going to show up for that game. I just know. I hope people do. I mean, I presume you get a few Western Kentucky fans, a few ODU fans, but you're not going to pack it in. Could you imagine if you had Troy against JMU or have a rematch between JMU and App State? JMU plays the winner of App State and Troy. Now, not all that fair to App State because they already beat them once, but who cares? Get over that. That would get the fans there. And you put it somewhere, to the, I don't know about Charlotte. That's kind of, App State, but, it is what it is. Somewhere on the East Coast or, slightly, I don't know if there's slightly. You could do that in, either Birmingham or Montgomery, I guess. If it is App State and JMU and Troy would be a little bit disadvantage to the JMU if it's in Montgomery or in Birmingham. But those would be really well attended, especially in Birmingham, where I think the stadium only holds 30,000. The place would be full. You put Troy and JMU in Birmingham, place is full. That's a sold out. That's a sold out ball game. And let's see when that is, because let's see, the Birmingham Bowl is the 23rd. So that's Saturday. And then you're traveling on Christmas Eve. You're traveling back home. Now, I just think, I don't know why you would not do that. I mean, I know why it won't happen, because the people putting this stuff together aren't all that bright. And that's why it wouldn't happen. It should absolutely happen. I would hold out and see if you can somehow get, and they're talking about all kinds of deals, these schools going there and, switching for those schools. If you can get Troy, the winner of Troy and App State, to play JMU, that would be beautiful. It'd be good for me, which is really all I care about. I'm kidding. No, it would be phenomenal, right? The crowds would be packed. The stadium would be packed. You'd get, 2.5, 3 weeks of chatter. That would be awesome. You can play them in the 68 Ventures Bowl for all I care in Mobile. It's not actually all that close to Troy, closer than JMU, I get it, but, or App State, whoever the case may be. But the winner of Troy and App State should 100% get JMU. Let's make this happen because it's not that difficult, right? You don't have to know what's going on in the Sun Belt to realize the potential that you have to have a midweek, middle-of-the-afternoon game sold out, because you either get a JMU App State rematch or you get a JMU Troy bowl game that plays as a Sun Belt championship game at that. All right. It wouldn't be, obviously, because Troy would already have won that, but it would be phenomenal. And it's such an easy thing. I think it would be such an easy thing to do, but they won't do it because they'll make it harder than it has to be. So that's my 2 cents with that. All right, let's take a timeout. That was more like 5 cents, maybe 10 even. When we come back, let's check out the basketball, and I say standings, but the early season results so far. Coming up next, obviously, JMU is off to a tremendous start. Let me tell you about LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to have as many top-tier candidates as possible to interview. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, the process is intuitive, quick, and easy. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. We've talked about Curt Cignetti, if he's coloring his hair, more about ageism than if he's actually dyeing his hair. And why not have Troy App State winner versus JMU in a bowl game? Who says no to that? I mean, if someone would someone really say no to that and be able to stand up in the middle of, in a press conference and say why? No, I don't think so. All right. Meanwhile, college basketball season has gotten underway, and it seems like we're just, it's JMU's world, and we're just part of it. JMU off to a 6-0 start, ranked 22nd in the nation. They take down Michigan State in overtime, right? That was in overtime. Yep, that was in overtime, 79-76. And so far, maybe the game of the year, Kent State, right? They were down 5. They were down 5 with about 10 seconds left to go. I want to get that right. Let me see here. They were down 5. Yes. Yep, they were down 89-84 after Chris Payton Jr. made 2 free throws. Says with 3 seconds left to go. So what happens? They inbounds the ball. Noah Friedel makes a 3-pointer, makes it a 2-point game. The clock ran out, but there's 1.2 seconds left. And one of the Kent State guys clearly pushed off, was called for an offensive foul. And then Friedel made a layup underneath the bucket. If you go back and watch the play, you will distinctly see why you do not play man-to-man on an out-of-bounds play under the basket. If they pass out for an open 3-pointer, because, okay. But and it's only 1.2 seconds. He made a layup. So, yeah, you play zone for just that reason. Anyways, James Madison goes on to beat Kent State 113-108. And they're off to a fantastic start. They have Buffalo today, actually. They're 22.5-point favorite. Buffalo is not very good. It should be mentioned. Buffalo is not very good. And they get an early, there's an early conference game at Old Dominion on December 9th. So they're playing Keystone. I'm not sure what that is. But they're getting Old Dominion in Norfolk on December 9th. Hopefully I said it right. I was instructed on how to say that. So JMU is off to a tremendous start. I think I saw the Cajuns are second with wins. Hasn't been the most difficult schedule. Cajuns are 5-2. They lost to, I think they may have lost to Toledo. Yeah, they lost to Toledo in a ball game. They had a 16-point second half lead. They should not have lost to Toledo. And they lost to Wright State 91-85 in a ball game, pretty good ball game. Themis Folks, their point guard, got hurt in that. That was in, I think, technically Estero, Florida, but outside of Fort Myers. Actually, they took down Buffalo and Long Beach State. And then on Monday, they beat Loyola. So far, this is the way Bob Marlin has always been. He lives and dies with the threes. All right. He is Mr. Analytics before there was analytics. He takes threes and layups and wants to go to the free throw line. The problem here this year is that the free throw line might not be their thing. They do not have a whole lot of inside stuff. So it's going to be, hit the three. So far this year, already in 2 ball games, they've hit a school record. They set it and then tied it, 18 3-pointers. Now, one of them was against Xavier, but you still got to make deep shots. That's, whether they're well defended or not, you still got to hit them. And usually Bob Marlin, despite me not always liking them shooting the threes as much as they do, always they tend to be wide open shots. They don't generally take bad shots. But when they're not falling, you have to adjust, and they generally don't adjust. They keep on shooting threes. But when you're playing the lesser teams, it's more about the defense, and that's what happened in that ball game. And that's what happened with Loyola as well. All right, App State is 4-2. They've actually won 3 in a row. South Alabama has been up and down. Not sure what to make of them at all, right? They got embarrassed by Alabama. No shame in that, although, 102-46, there's a little shame. They did get beat by a couple of their former players, Jamal West and Deontay Smith. I think I got that right. Came into South Alabama and beat them. That was a heck of a ball game, 102-97. They rebounded to win a couple of ball games after that, 3 in a row, and then they kind of hung tough with Maryland. They hung tough with Maryland. They won't see Sun Belt action until at Old Dominion, coincidentally, as well. So we're still trying to figure out South Alabama. And that's a team that, based on my experience with Richie Riley, is going to be playing different in February than it is in November and December. All right. Georgia State is 3-3. Warhawks 3-3. Southern Miss 3-4. Texas State is 3-4. Troy 3-4. Monarchs 2-3. Arkansas State 2-4. Marshall is 2-4. Coastal Carolina 1-4. And oh boy, Georgia Southern is 0-7. Yeesh. Any of these games close? Oh boy. Lost to Georgia Tech 84-62. Eastern Michigan 70-60. Got blown out by Jacksonville 85-68. Did lose to Kennesaw State by 4, 96-92. Got beat by East Carolina 82-64. Northeastern beat them 93-76, and they just got drubbed by Michigan State 86-55. They're playing Jacksonville again. They got a home and home with Jacksonville. So they lost at Jacksonville. Now they're hosting Jacksonville. Their next ball game is November the 2nd against Are they the Dolphins? I think they are the Dolphins. They are the Dolphins. All right. If you don't know, that's Artis Gilmore's former team, the Big A, or the A Train, I think, is what it was. So, boy, Georgia Southern's got to turn that around and fast, and it doesn't look like it's getting any easier. Jacksonville, North Florida, number 10 Tennessee, UNC Wilmington, Florida Gulf Coast, and then they're starting with the Sun Belt. This could get out of control quickly. All right. We will certainly start to put our focus towards basketball as well, probably after this week, as we'll talk about the bowl games, but there won't actually be any football action. We'll have maybe more coaching changes. All right. We'll see. That usually has taken care of by now. And the portal. We'll definitely talk about the portal. Coastal Carolina losing Jared Guest. He'll be a grad transfer. I guess they're going to go with a freshman, Ethan Vasco. So Guest has been there for 5 years. He could have had a 6th year because of 20. And he's doing grad transfer. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in to Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. We'll do more with Troy and App State. Probably look at the quarterbacks on Thursday. I'm your host, Dave Schultz. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon. Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day.